the killing in 1986 of Jennifer Levin in Central Park. He will serve 5 to 15 years. But before he heard his sentence, he made an emotional apology, speaking in public for the first time since the death of Jennifer Levin. You're going to hear that dramatic 2-minute statement in its entirety.
You may proceed.
Today we came to see the end of a trial with no answers, a trial with no winners. The Levin family have gone through hell because of my actions, and I am sorry. For 2 years I have not been able to say I'm sorry. I've not been able to say anything, but now I wish to have my feelings known. Whoever said that time heals all wounds is definitely wrong, because how can these wounds heal? They linger forever, and the families will suffer. Jennifer's looking down on this now at the circus arena, looking and wondering why it all happened, and I don't know. I never wished any of this to happen. I never wanted any of this to happen. But her name will live on, not through memories, but by her family and her feelings. And I wish to apologize to the family and to her friends for all the trouble that they've gone through. I've never wanted any of this to happen to anybody. To my family and friends, I wish to express my love and my gratitude for all they've done. I've only wanted to love them, but I never seemed to grasp what it meant. For those friends that kept the vigil, I thank them on behalf of their families, and I'm sure I can understand the feelings they had. For those that kept the faith, they're always in my prayers. And to Jennifer, nothing I can do or say will ever bring her back, but I am sorry. I just wish to thank the jury and the court officers for helping so much, for giving me a fair trial. They met me each day with a smile and gave me encouraging words each night. I'd like to thank my lawyers for all the splendid work they've done. They kept my family together through rough times, and I'll never be able to repay them. And to your honor, I want to thank you for the fairest trial that you can give under the circumstances. You didn't give in to the public pressure. You did what you thought was right, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Robert Chambers, now 21 years old, speaking in State Supreme Court in Lower Manhattan just before he was sentenced to prison by Justice Howard Bell.
Chambers walked into the packed courtroom around 11 o'clock this morning to hear his fate. It had already been sealed by the plea bargaining arrangement made 3 weeks ago today. The plea bargain deal came on the 9th day of jury deliberations in the Chambers trial. We begin our coverage with Lewis Young.
From looking at him, you'd never know he'd spent the last 3 weeks on Rikers Island. The well-dressed former preppy Robert Chambers came to court today for the consummation of the deal his lawyers made with the prosecution March 25th at the tumultuous end of his murder trial. A guilty plea for first-degree manslaughter for Jennifer Levin's death and second-degree burglary on an unrelated case in exchange for 5 to 15-year sentences to run concurrently. Chambers' controversial defense lawyer, Jack LITMAN, strove mightily right to the end to mitigate the damage to his client. Having already secured what many consider to be a great deal with the prosecutor, he worked to improve it. LITMAN tried to control what information will be entered into his client's probation report. Chambers' previous criminal conduct, including a drug problem, will eventually bear on whether or not he'll be granted parole in 1993.
It is very important, because as Your Honor knows, if Mr. Chambers indeed, as I assume, will have an exemplary record when he is inside prison and he is eligible for parole at a certain time, these allegations, which are set forth here, may well be significant to some parole authority.
The prosecutor argued to keep the damaging allegations in the record, and she successfully fought LITMAN's attempt to have a pre-sentence hearing before Chambers was sent to state prison. She also told the judge that prison is what Robert Chambers deserves.
He never exhibited a shred of remorse for the taking the life of a vibrant, healthy, happy Jennifer Levin, who had everything to live for.
The court listened as Robert Chambers finally did apologize today, though. His lawyers called it profound remorse, but the Levins were unimpressed.
I'm sorry for all the pain that everybody's gone through, and I would like to thank the 150-plus people that have written to me so far while on Rikers Island for all their comfort, for all their letters.
Stephen Levin had asked to address the judge in open court to plead for the toughest possible sentence. But the law doesn't allow for that, and the deal had been made already anyway. And Levin tells me he'll now put this case behind him and join the growing crusade in this country for victims' rights. The fact that Robert Chambers would be standing addressing the court one final time today brought a crush of media and spectators to the courthouse. Rolonda Watts was in the courtroom when it all wrapped up today. She gauged the reaction.
Robert Chambers' parents left the criminal courthouse today, perhaps one of the last to face the barrage of press. While a tearful and distraught Mrs. Chambers sought the comfort of friends, her husband, Robert Sr., maintained a silent calm. Just moments before, inside the courtroom, the Chambers had heard the sentencing of their son for first-degree manslaughter, a crime to which Chambers apologized, an apology that gave no comfort to his victim's parents, but instead stirred feelings of anger, resentment, and remorse.
He said nothing in courtroom today.
Not even...
He said nothing in courtroom today.
You don't believe his remorse?
He said nothing. It didn't come from here, it came from here.
Mr. Levin?
A memory, memorized.
The Chambers trial also proved to be a grueling one for members of the jury, people who spent 9 days deliberating, 11 weeks of testimony. None of the jury members was required to attend today's sentencing, but at least 2 of them took it upon themselves to be here today. For this, the final chapter of the Robert Chambers murder trial.
I hope that he does good work. I hope that he rehabilitates, but he can't do it until he comes to grips with the fact.